What does your filter bubble look like? What are the websites, social media platforms, shows, movies, singers, etc. that influence you? Moreover, how does your filter bubble affect your perspective on the world?
I utilize, my search engines are Yahoo and Google. My social media would be Facebook and Instagram. As far as specific, media, all the major networks, ABC, NBC, CBS, predominantly NBC and ABC. And then for cable news, CNN or Fox News, generally. More Fox News than CNN. As far as like individuals that influence me, I wouldn't really say there's any specific individual that influences me in the media. No actor, no singer, nothing like that. My role models are not that population. So I would say I don't have any in that area. And then what was the other part of the question?
How does your filter bubble affect your perspective on the world?
Oh, I recognize that I am leaning towards, with the exception of social media, only because I guess with social media, I can control my friend group on Facebook. Therefore, I am choosing to associate myself mostly with people that believe like I believe. Now, there are plenty of people that are friends of mine on social media through Instagram or Facebook that I do not align with, like every political stance or major issue in the world that we don't align on. But what we do have, and the reason why they are a friend, is that we can have healthy conversation and agree to disagree, move beyond it, recognize each other's perspectives, and I respect that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So to that end, I feel like, just because you don't agree with me does not mean that I am not going to, you have a space in my world. Here's your glasses. What time does it start? Starts here in a few minutes, like 2:04, I think. It's like an hour and 41 minutes, but totality is somewhere right around the middle of that time frame. Not totality. No. But at the middle of our window, which is like 2-ish to 4-ish. No problem. Enjoy your glasses. Oh my God. You have to look at the sun in order to see it. Yeah, you literally have to look at the sun just for them to work. I know. I had to check them too. Good luck. Bye. Okay, sorry about that.
You're fine.
So, to that end, like I welcome healthy discord. When it's with people that I know have the right intentions and aren't going to skew, aren't going to make sweeping assumptions about me based on one thing that we don't agree on.
Mm-hmm.
Does that answer it?
Sure. What role did your parents, peers, teachers, etc. play in creating your media filters?
Well, you got to recognize my age. So teachers, no influence. We didn't have the internet.
Well, it would count for like your news too, and like the things that you would talk about.
Well, I went to a private Christian school. So that's, probably all you need to know in the sense of, what was taught. I was in a Bible, not a Catholic or a Protestant, not, specific Episcopalian or Catholic or Jewish or anything like that. I was just in a non-denominational Christian school. I guess what maybe some would call today would just be Protestant. So, based in the Bible, but not additional documents like the extra Catholic, book the Catholics have, or the extra stuff, the extra, teachings that the Mormons have, that kind of thing. So that was my education. And so it was definitely rooted in a faith-based, God-centered, God-focused Christian foundation.
But would you say that your media filters...
Creationism, like creationism. Did we speak about, like, the theory of Big Bang? Yes. Was there exhaustive amounts of time spent on disproving it? No. I mean, it just wasn't. It wasn't that one was crammed more than the other. It was just, a faith-based education, Christianity in generality, and, the Bible as, as a tool in our education.
Yeah, but do you think that do you look at media through a faith-based lens?
I don't. No, not at all. No, that's probably the anti-faith. Yeah, I mean, that's probably, the devil's handiwork, really.
I mean, so you don't think that your education played a role in creating what you look at in the news? Like the education you grew up with?
No, I do. No, the way that I was raised and the education that I received absolutely helped shape what I believe to be fact versus fiction today. But I guess you could say that it might affect it in the sense that I did say that I watch Fox News.
Yeah.
And Fox News is, as everyone will tell you, conservative leaning and faith-based. I mean, they have advertisements on. They're not afraid of advertising things about the Bible and things of that nature. They, have commercials that are like just a prayer. So yes, I mean, it would be foolish to say that it didn't influence me in some way, shape, or form. But at this point in my life, I am open to seeing other viewpoints, but my compass is strong and steady. Can I live in a world? I mean, I have to, right? Because there's people that are doing wrong to each other all around me every day, murder or crime or, whatever the case may be. But, I know my moral compass, I am steady and fast in knowing that is not okay. And even though the news may report on it and may lead me to believe that it's happening over and over and all the time and everywhere, can't walk out your front door, I know better because I know there is more good in the world than there is evil in the world, because I do have roots in faith, and the Bible tells me that is such. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here. The world would end. So, yes, of course, without a doubt, it influences it. But it doesn't influence it to the point that I am not capable of hearing a counter argument or counter position, if that makes sense.
Well, that leads me into the next question, which is, what gaps do you believe exist in your filter bubble? For example, are there times when you find yourself asking, why do those people not understand? It's so obvious.
Oh, sure, without a doubt. I mean, I think that's why we argue, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's why we argue. I mean, arguments are built, and probably why some of these things escalate from not being able to have a respectable conversation with somebody about something that both sides are really passionate about, and then it escalates, and the next thing you know, somebody's punching somebody, or worse, they're killing somebody. And it really just never needed to be there. I mean, I'm sure you can recognize that in your own life, where you're deeply passionate about something and you don't understand why somebody else can't see, at a minimum, respect and understand your passion for it. So, yes, without a doubt, I see that and I experience that. And to the question, I mean, please tell me if I'm off base here in answering it. But I have to work at that. Like, that's a conscious effort that I have to make to be open to hearing another side. And I recognize that I have walls. I mean, while I feel like, especially as I've aged and raised my own children, conversely to my own rearing, there are some things that would have never flown in my society or my upbringing when I was growing up, that today, as a parent myself, I recognize are just not that deep. Like, is that the hill I'm going to die on?
Do you have any specific?
And the answer is no. For instance, an example would be like we've had the ripped jean discussion. My mother would have never bought me ripped jeans.
Well, Mimi's bought me ripped jeans, so
I know that, but what I'm saying is, like, that would have never flown. Number one, my school dress code would have never allowed it at a private school, and number two, my mother would have had all these kinds of hang-ups about what it looked like. I mean, can you imagine? Nanny would have died if I had shown up, if she'd picked me up from school and I had on ripped jeans. So it would have never flown. It just wasn't okay. I never owned a pair. I still have never owned a pair. But I recognize that, and it's not to say that there was like I never felt like there was personal self-worth associated with what I was wearing. I did recognize that I was being raised to, I mean, people needed to respect my body, but I needed to respect it too. And that what I put out was a reflection of my family and was a reflection of what I wanted to get back in the world. And so, I needed to be aware of that, whether it was the clothes I was wearing, the words I was speaking, the way I was behaving in public. I mean, any of those things, driving my car, whatever, all of those things play a part in what the outside world thinks about your inner self. So for me, recognizing that, like, those clothes were part of that. Whereas with my own children, raising them, I've recognized that as long as, like, is there a space where I can get to meeting the desire of my children or child, because it's only you, let's be honest, to have a crop top, wear crop tops and ripped jeans, and still make sure that you understand your worth is not tied up in what you're wearing, and that what you put out into the world, you need to be cognizant of the message it sends. So, like, that's where I was as a parent. It's not that I like it or that I think, like, I mean, you own those things, I've bought you those things, and the world has kept turning. But it just was a non-starter when I was a kid. Whereas now, my evolution and as the evolution of the world is such that I have recognized that I just need to learn how to navigate that in a way that you can express yourself and feel free to do so, but recognize that what you put out speaks a message. Is that the message you want to send? You're representative of yourself, our family, those types of things. So it's just, and some people would say, and there's a lot of people that would say it, and I see it too, is like, why do we keep having to give up our values? Because now it looks like I've got the dumb value. If I say to you, I will not buy ripped jeans for you, I will not purchase a crop top for you, in my presence, you cannot wear those things, then to you, I look like the person with crazy values. And you wouldn't respect it. I mean, you've shown me before that you don't. So you wouldn't respect that. And so there's no, I mean, the ability of both parties to recognize, like, I'm moving a needle, but there are times when you don't reciprocate that, or whoever you're talking to. And at that point, where does the conversation go? I mean, just as much as you value being half naked, I value equally covering, we could say, in this example. One isn't more right or more wrong necessarily. I mean, given the location of maybe where one wants to dress, it would have relevancy. But my point is just being that, and unless there is a willingness on both people's parts to move a needle, it goes nowhere. So yes, I mean, and I am influenced by those things just as much as you're influenced by, your upbringing and access. At least with social media, I have the ability.
Mother, you've deviated from the question. You just
sorry.
keep talking. I'm just going to cut you off there. The
Okay,
question is, what gaps do you believe exist to your own filter bubble?
And give me the example again.
Why do those people not understand it's so obvious?
Oh, well, I think that just plays to what? I think it's,
I just need a direct answer.
Well, I would say that lack of education, but I don't like the way that comes up. I don't mean it in the sense that you haven't been to college or you haven't, had enough life experience. Those are factors, but I think it's education just about people that are different than you, that believe differently than you, or see the world from a different lens.
So then lack of exposure?
Yes. But I recognize that you have to allow yourself to be open to that. So it could be a barrier. A gap could be that you're just unwilling. It can be all around you. The exposure can be all around you, but you are unwilling to engage.
Okay, but in your own filter bubble, like your own perspective on the world, not other people's.
My gaps in my own world.
Yes.
Well, I think at this stage, I'm really more about the quality of the people and experiences that I have and that are around me than the quantity. So, I would say a gap for me at this age is kind of just a lack of desire to dig deep into some of those issues, hot button issues. If it's not affecting me, if it's not in my immediate bubble, then I have a tendency sometimes to not want to dig any deeper. Like that's a you problem, not a me problem.
And then because of those gaps, what steps can you take to see beyond your filter bubble? What would be the most significant benefit of doing this? So just give me one thing that you could do better to not have blind spots.
I think it's trying to educate myself about that, whatever that subject matter is, and that's going to require me stepping into something that may or may not be comfortable for me. And we have to get uncomfortable usually to grow. So I would say getting out of my comfort zone. Maybe doing things that are hard, not exactly easy. Having the tough conversation, whatever it is. Going to the scary place, whatever the thing is.
Okay, that's it. Who else can I call for this?